So you've seen the training announcement for critical thinking in the forensic interview moving from rote to responsive practice. And maybe you're wondering, what on the earth does that even mean? Well, don't worry. We're here to answer all of your questions. I'm Christina Rouse, Program Manager for CAC Development with the Southern Regional Children's Advocacy Center.
And I'm Linda Cordisco Steele. I'm the Director of Forensic Interview Services and Training at the National Children's Advocacy Center. And Christine and I are happy to be with you today.
Yeah. So, all right, Linda, before we dive into this particular training, let's just talk really broadly about what even is critical thinking skills.
So, critical thinking is a term that I think we hear more frequently these days. And it just speaks to one of the ways that we might make decisions about actions to take or how to proceed or how to solve a problem. So when something comes up and we need to make a decision,
Mhm.
there are a number of ways we could do that. One is we could have a sort of rote scripted way that we're going to respond. It's the rule book. This is how you do it, and you just follow that rule book. Some people are really comfortable with that format. Others might do more of a, well, this is what my gut is telling me I need to do, or I'm going to follow my heart, or this is what
Mm-hmm.
I think would be helpful, sort of the intuitive approach to problem solving. And others may just think about, well, what have I done in the past, or what have I seen other people do previously? And use that as a way to guide their response. There probably are other different kinds of responses that people might could come up with, but those are three that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
So, in contrast to one of those, when we think about critical thinking, it's about not just following a rote script or program, or not just going with sort of our intuition or thoughts or feelings in the moment, but taking a more rational, objective, informed kind of approach to analyzing, thinking through critically possible options, and then making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of what goes into that is what are those sources that inform our decisions? And we
Mm-hmm.
want them to be credible sources, not just someone's opinion, but something that has some substance and weight behind it. And there's additionally two ways we might think about critical thinking. One's a more general or non-specific approach to life. So we all have those friends, and maybe you're one of them yourself, that are just sort of analytical people. You kind of think through everything. There are no
Mm-hmm.
spontaneous decisions. That's more general, global approach to problem solving. That doesn't fit all of us. That's certainly not my style in most of my life. But there is also domain specific skill around critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're thinking about with forensic interviewing. You don't
Mm.
have to be analytical about every part of your life. And there's certainly going to be, science and information that informs your approach, but it's a higher order practice. It's really thinking things through, making deliberate choices, and knowing why you made those choices. It takes practice, though. It's
Mm-hmm.
work.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that we're using critical thinking skills all of the time in our everyday lives. How is critical thinking for a forensic interviewer maybe a little different than the rule book or the protocol or just following what's on a piece of paper? How can interviewers utilize critical thinking?
I do think it's not, so we talk about this, the other trainers and myself, Kim and Andra, and I talk about this a lot when we're teaching brand new interviewers, brand new baby interviewers, as we call them. And you've got to really start with the basics. There's got to be some degree of rote thinking, rote learning, really practicing with feedback following more or less a script in
Mm,
forensic interviewing that helps a new interviewer begin to internalize those core principles of interviewing. How
mhm,
we ask narrative encouraging questions, following our protocol, how we provide social support. And there is science out there that really informs all of that. But we know beyond just following what the science has brought to us, there are lots of other reasons and ways that interviewers are having to make choices or decisions throughout that interview process. And that's where the critical thinking comes in.
mhm. Yeah, we don't interview the same child every time, so interviewers are going to need to pull from their sources of information, like you mentioned, to make decisions about how to interview that child that's right in front of them. So let's dive into this particular training. What can attendees expect to hear, see, learn if they attend the course?
Well, one of the things that I'm so excited about is that this is an in person training. Yay! And we know that as much as we've all gotten used to, and I think can do some good exchanges using virtual interactions, there's something about just physically being together and being able to sort of embody yourself in the experience of these
Mhm,
discussions. Very similar to being in the interview room. It's a lived, felt experience as well as an intellectual and verbal experience. So there will be opportunities. The class size will be pretty small. There's going to be some selectivity about who gets accepted into the training. So this is not a brand new baby interviewer
mhm,
training. This is not, I got trained 2 weeks ago and now I want to do this training. We want participants to have some experience, in their background and to have really encountered some of the challenges around differences in children, differences in case law, how
mhm,
cases actually come to us, an outcry child versus a non outcry child, the makeup of the child, the family, your partners, what's
mhm,
your jurisdiction, what kind of things do they allow in the forensic interview? We want some of that experience. And that will let us really engage with what are the decision points in the forensic interview, all the way from pre interview preparation through any adaptations we're going to
mhm,
plan for ahead of time with our partners, and then being very observant of the interaction with the child. Who is this child? What's going on in the moment? And how do I adjust what I'm doing as I implement those core competencies of good questions and protocol and social support? How do I make decisions to kind of best meet the needs of this child in this case?
mm,
Um, Additionally, we'll bring in some other areas of knowledge and research, like attachment theory and
mm,
some more on development and how culture and family dynamics impact development. There's a lot of interest in children's neurodiverse ways of
mm,
thinking,
mhm.
and making sense of their world. Polyvagal theory, one of my favorites, about how that all of that impacts our body and our
Mhm,
emotional arousal and how to work with that in the interview. So we'll be bringing in some other areas of knowledge and interest, but really looking to focus on discussing strategies
mhm,
that fall within the realm of evidence based practice, but also hopefully provide the best opportunity to each individual child.
Yeah. I love that this training exists now. I wish it existed when I was still interviewing because I think it'll really provide an opportunity for interviewers to dive way deeper into their skill development than what we've been looking at. So, if you had to name one benefit that you would be hopeful for interviewers to walk away with, what would you say to them of a hope that you have for them after they would attend this training?
I hope they will walk away with some additional information and a lens through which to observe what's going on with the child. But I think mostly I'm hoping they'll walk away with a renewed sense of confidence
Mhm.
and how to go about not only making adaptations that they might need to make in the interview, but also being able to explain it, defend
Mm.
it, help others understand the process that we're doing.
Mhm. Well, how would people go about wanting to register? What are the details about the course?
So the course is going to be held on July 22nd and 23rd. It is in Huntsville, of course. And if you will just go to our website, you will be able to find the training, the specifics about the training, and that's where you can register. I would also say if anyone has additional questions they want to ask me
Mhm.
before they make that decision, so L Steele at nationalcac.org, and I'll be happy to respond to your questions.
Well, thank you, Linda, for providing all that additional content. I think it's going to make people excited about wanting to attend the course and really deepen their skill development as interviewers. So, like Linda mentioned, if you have further questions, please reach out to her, and she looks forward to seeing you in Huntsville.
Hoping to see you there.